Welcome back. We're joined now by our most incisive return guest, even if you can't always understand his accent, Hugh Dougherty, who's the executive editor of the Daily Beast. Hugh, we always need to talk to you, but we particularly need your insight this week because there's yet another new Pete Hegseth scandal that we need you to explain it all. Also, yesterday, I was busy doing a board meeting yesterday, so I missed the news, and I felt like I'd been away for 3 weeks in terms of Hexethia.
My God, what is
Joanna,
happening?
thank you for having me back. Sam, thank you for being back.
Oh,
Do we want to talk about the lunacy, the incompetence, the ignorance, or the chaos? I'm quoting our great columnist David Rothkopf there, who says that Hegseth is only the tip of the iceberg, but he is a very, very pointed tip. It's been quite a week in the world of Pete Hegseth. It's going to be, I think, quite a few for the next few days, quite a dramatic few days as well. So, as everybody, I think, by now knows, he had one secret signal chat going, to which a journalist was accidentally joined.
This was the one that Jeff Goldberg from The Atlantic was put on by Mike Waltz by accident.
Exactly. It turns out that that wasn't the only secret signal chat that Pete had. On his personal phone, he had Defense Huddle, and unfortunately, I wasn't a member. And to the best of my knowledge, Joanna and Sam, you were not members either.
Well, we can't possibly say.
from your
Well,
lips to
that's
God's
true. You may
ears.
be on the third signal chat.
I want to get invited.
We all kind of feel a bit insulted, don't we? Because, well, we do know something about what it takes to be on Pete Hegseth's signal group. It was his wife, his third wife, Jennifer, his emotional support brother, Phil, his personal spokesman, Sean Parnell, who, like him, is a combat veteran who has also had some family troubles, and his personal lawyer, Tim Parlatore. And on this group, it appears that Pete Hegseth was copying the battle plans sent by CENTCOM's commander and pasting them so that his wife, his brother, and his lawyer all knew exactly when FA-18 Hornets were taking off to bomb the Houthis.
Why?
We don't yet know what emojis were used.
What was he? What? Okay, the signal of it. I mean, I'm not even putting the signal of it aside. Why would his wife need that information? Like, in what world
Well, maybe she's very demanding. Maybe she's like, why haven't you called me? And he's like, here's why I haven't called you. Maybe because she is the third wife, and it has, he's had a complicated romantic time. So I don't find it difficult to believe that she doesn't trust him, and she insists on knowing where he is every single second of the
Well,
day.
helpfully, she almost doesn't need to insist on knowing where she is because she is with him in the Pentagon almost all the time. She has been in meetings, and the Pentagon says through its spokesman, Sean Parnell, who, as I say, is one of Hegseth's best friends, that she has never been present for classified or secret information. But we have learned as well that they were looking to get her a security clearance so that she could, in fact, take part in these secrets. You're right, Joanna, has a complicated background with Pete.
Can you get fired just for being dumb? And if not, why not? It's more a comment than a question. I think the answer is no one fires you for just being so dumb.
I'm going to turn to the words of one of our other columnists, Michael Ian Black, who has written an absolute must-read column that you will find in the Daily Beast. And he has come, as he says, not to bury Pete Hegseth, but to praise him. And he points out that Pete Hegseth is a man who has demonstrated, as just to quote Michael Ian Black, one need not possess talent, discipline, nor intellect to rise to this nation's greatest heights. And that he is the perfect defense secretary for a president who thrives on total chaos. So it may be, Sam, that we have some answer there.
He really reminds me of, like, when Rick Perry took over, he was the cabinet secretary, And everyone in Texas, I think, called him like Governor Haircut. I feel like Trump loves Pete Hegseth's hair, and that's why he's in the job. I mean, Joanna, you think of him
Well, he
more
has
as
got
like
good hair.
you think of him more as Secretary American Girl doll.
I do, because to me, I just take one look at him and he's all with his accessories and his stars and stripes accessories, his pocket jeep, his socks, his weird tats, his multiple wives. So there's a lot to buy there. If you were going to bring him out as a doll, there's all sorts of accessory dolls, which means there's revenue opportunities around him.
You're just multiplying the revenue around
And
him.
the Ice Barbie companion doll would do well as well.
Exactly right. And then he comes with a family because, as you say, he's got his emotional support brother. It's fascinating. But I
And
think
as you
there was
know, he also has, between him and his third wife, they have 7 children. And we saw them this week at the Easter egg roll. He made his first comments in defense of himself to the media who were present, just to report on a very traditional occasion. People bring children, cabinet members, aides, bring children
the
to Easter
president
egg
even
roll.
brought his wife. Melania even showed up.
The
Jesus.
president, Melania, did indeed make a rare appearance while the president was colouring in. She was reading some storybooks to children. And off in another part of the enclosure, Pete Hegseth had his children gather around him as he offered a very trenchant defence of himself against the media. And he sought out the cameras, he stared right into them, and his children behind him became, I think, avatars for how many people around Pete Hegseth feel right now, that they were covering their faces and beginning to shrink away from their 44-year-old father or stepfather.
Wow.
And it's the spectacle that's going on in the Pentagon, of course, could only happen under Trump. It's only, as I just like to point out, we're not at the first 100 days. And there is a lot of speculation whether Pete Hegseth is going to be replaced, whether Trump has lost confidence. Is he looking for replacements? We have had very bullish public statements from Trump, but the value of a Trump endorsement can go down as well as up.
This is also because Pete Hegseth has had to fire several people himself from his department, right? Who've then gone, what is the term where they turn against him and say, well, there's so much more chaos to come. We've seen the inside of this and you haven't seen anything yet.
Yes, so Hegseth has sidelined his chief of staff, fired a number of a number of aides and advisors. And what's worth pointing out is that all of these people were brought in by Pete Hegseth. So he's talked about the deep state being up against him, but these are the people that he brought himself to the Pentagon, and they have briefed against each other, and they have also been out in public putting their own case. One of them went on Tucker Carlson. He's a guy called Dan Caldwell, and he had, he's got a long history in government, or in Republican politics, and advisor posts in government. He went on Tucker Carlson, and he said that he was the victim of personal vendettas. And Pete Hegseth has said that he's fired leakers. This guy, Dan Caldwell, denied that he was a leaker. And just to give you a flavor of Trump world, Tucker asked him who the other leakers might be, and he suggested the leaks are coming from somebody who worked for George W. Bush and from Susan Rice, who was a national security advisor to Barack Obama and Homeland Security and home policy advisor to Joe Biden. So it seems unlikely that she's leaking the secrets of Pete Hegseth's Pentagon, but that's who they wanted to blame. So there's a lot of dimensions of this chaos. And I haven't even mentioned the strip club.
Oh, what? Wait, what? Say more. I had a thought, but I'm holding it for this.
One of these advisors, Joe Casper, who was the chief of staff and who Hegseth described as a great American, as he also announced that this great American was now conducting special projects. And anybody that's ever been moved to a special projects role knows what that means. This advisor, it was revealed, had gone to a meeting with veterans groups and instead of sticking to the agenda, had discussed how he had been to a strip club with somebody else that was in the room.
That's great. What I wanted to say was that usually, I mean, I know that he was saying, like, the people who are all against me, they're just disgruntled ex-employees. And I was like, no, 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 no. You say that they're disgruntled ex-employees when they complain about you anonymously. But when they stand up, all four of them, and say their names and say how bad you are at your job, that's not a disgruntled ex-employee anymore. That's a person who is actually standing up to how bad you are at your job, and that is very different vibe. Very different vibe. Thank you.
And there was a Freudian slip on one of his favorite Fox News shows, I think, when they described him as the former defense secretary. So I think
I didn't see that.
there's a lot of selling shares going on right now, but I suspect sell shares in Pete Hegseth. Is that the right
Wow.
thing to take away from this conversation, Hugh?
I never want to make predictions, and there are people who are selling stock actively in Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
As we
I'm
all
gonna short
know,
sell. I'm
Trump's
gonna
stock
short
market
sell.
can go down as well as up within minutes.
Hugh, thank you for your extreme perception around Hegsethia, Hegsethland, whatever we call it, Hegland, Heggate. I saw David Rothkopf called it Hegsethgate. That felt too long. I think it should just be Hegsgate.
Hegsgate. Oh.
Heggers. If he was in Britain, he would be referred to as Heggers. And by now he would have gone because he wouldn't have withstood the nickname.
He would be, and on that basis, I'll rename our secret signal group Heggers. And
Oh,
Pete, if
that's
you
so
want to join
fun.
us, you know where we are. And I know you've got a lot of signal groups to juggle, but you are welcome to ours at any time.
We should make one and then we'll invite him and we'll call ourselves something important and he'll just believe it. Like he's not gonna double check. He's not a double checker.
The thing I feel is particularly odd is precisely because he was a combat veteran, you would think that he would take more care with the information because he's actually been, I think he was in Iraq and Afghanistan. So he actually knows the danger of our service people on the ground. He's experienced it. So to be so casual with classified information seems
Joanna,
doubly
his
odd.
head is as empty as an American boy doll. You called it. There isn't much in there.
Well, at least he's got good stars and striped socks. Hugh, thank you very much for coming on, and I will look forward to seeing you back. Oh, I'll see you at the White House Correspondents' Weekend.
Yes,
Ooh.
I will see you there. And Sam, I'll see you in Signal.
Yes. Oh, please. I pray.
Don't tell Joanna about our secret group.
My dream.
Thank you for having me.